Rick, it's good to see you.
Hey, good morning, Keith. Good to see you.
Good. Hope you got one more in you. I got the title. You ready?
Yes, sir.
Okay, I'm gonna have you start. It's going to be balancing self-care with regards to caring for others. You go.
Balancing self-care with regard to others. I see. Yes. Okay. So there's like this conflict that we may have in ourselves about, am I being too selfish if I'm doing things for myself when I should be doing things for other people? Or am I too focused on the bleeding crowd and helping people solve their problems and I'm neglecting myself? Yeah, that's a really interesting thing, especially for people who are mindful of wanting to serve others. What is the limit? Is there a limit to what we can do? I guess the way I look at it is that you and I are both in service businesses, so we both have to take into account our work and how that affects others, and we are at the very base of our lives devoted to helping others. So I guess the first thing would be to say that I'm absolutely mindful of the obligation that I have to help other people. I'm also extremely aware of the boundary that I must set between myself and those I'm trying to help. Because if I neglect self, there's no way that I can be effective in helping others. So I think the best starting point for me is to try to focus on being the person I want to be. That's number one. The person I want to be. I want to be the best version of myself, while at the same time being considerate of the needs of others, including the people that I'm trying to serve. So it's basically best version of Rick and also consideration for others who need me. But there is a definite demarcation between those things. And that demarcation takes a lot of energy because I think if you're a natural giver like you are, you can get lost in that. What you do, that is an example for me and for many of us who know you, is that you are not dependent on motivation. You're dependent on discipline, self-discipline to accomplish both of those tasks, the task of tending to Keith and the task of tending to others that Keith is responsible for helping. And that discipline is really the key to that balance. That discipline is hard because discipline is painful. We know we'd rather be watching TV or having chocolate cake or whatever it is that's slothful. So my point, I guess, is that number one, the first obligation is to self, to be the best version of self that we can be. Secondly, to be absolutely considerate of others, whether they're in your care or not. And if you're in a service business, consider it of all of those that we're trying to help. And at the same time, we're trying to make sure that we accomplish discipline as the way of bridging that gap. We accomplish a way, a method of serving ourselves and others at the same time. And that discipline is part of the art of life. It's part of the art that you have to develop for self. And everybody is unique in how they do that.
Wow, Rick, I really don't have anything to add. Like you nailed it. I was working with two colleagues who are part of the Mayo Clinic Enterprise, and they work in another state. They're phenomenal. And one heard me give a talk last year and invited me to come and do a workshop for her team. And so the three of us are, co-creating this workshop. And I'm just having a blast just getting to know them. And I can tell that, they feel a little bit of pressure because they got the approval of taking care of my travel and my lodging to come out there, which is no small thing. And their leadership has never heard me speak, don't know me. And so they wanted to go a certain way. And they feel the pressure of it going really, really well. And I'm telling them, like, you don't have to worry about it. Like I'm not losing any sleep or whether or not this will go well or not. Maybe it will, maybe it won't. But I'm not losing any sleep over it. I mean, this is not until July. But we're doing this exercise, the How I Land on You exercise, so they can really examine how they're showing up for other people. I've told them about the exercise, and they want to. They're interested in it because they want their teams to work well together. They think that consideration for their colleagues who have consideration for their colleagues, other colleagues, will show up better for them. And so part of that is getting feedback of how you are by the people around you so that you in and then you can decide whether or not that's your behaviors align with the kind of person you want to show up in the workplace. And so it's a great exercise. That it's one of the best exercises that I've seen out there with really seeking feedback about how you show up. And the magic of it is that no one is creating a list of how you should show up. This is the list that you create. So if Keith says he want to be inspiring, then people are telling me you don't show up as inspiring. I can hear all the examples in what you don't. But because that's the way I want to show up, then I have the choice to start to modify my behavior. Well, anyway, to make a long story short, as our time grows short, two people, as they're creating a list about the five great traits of how they see themselves and five not so great traits of how they see themselves, which is part of the exercise, they went on to list that they feel bad when they take care of themselves before other people.
Yeah.
And I think that's something that a lot of people who are other oriented struggle with. And so I think
Yes.
your podcast is absolutely timely. And the one thing that I didn't realize, and you nailed it perfectly, is that when you do it well, they are not in competition with the other. One allows you to give to the other more. When you give to other people, while you might be getting a big benefit and from that, and it turns you on, it could adversely be having an impact on your life in a way that other things suffer in your life. And I can just think of one small thing, your health, for example, or taking on the challenges that other people are going through, taking that on as if it's your challenge, and so all those things you become really identified with it. But if you have a discipline with the self-care piece, it allows you to more effectively contribute to the caring for other piece. And so, Rick, I love the discipline piece. And that's something that you helped me with in the beginning. You saw early on that I was taking on people's goals and what they wanted and them being successful as if it was mine. And when they didn't meet a commitment, I suffered from it. And you like, Keith, you gotta let that go. You don't know it, but you're tied up in the outcome of them being successful. That's not your call. All you can do is contribute to them on their journey. That's it. And what they choose to do with that contribution is up to them. But you give it freely with no expectation of what they do with it. And that is a form of self-care. So, Rick, this is a fantastic, fantastic topic. Thank you for introducing it. And when I look back about the difference that has happened in my life, the difference has been the discipline piece. You taught me to implement discipline to take care of myself, not just physically, but to take care of myself by making being conscious my number one priority. Working on that. Thank you, Rick. I love you.
I love you. Very kind words, Keith. Thank you.